looking at the Yolo County field, going from May to August, we saw that more moisture was being seen from the sky. And who knows what kind of implications this is going to have for policies around water, for instance, and maybe categorizing different type of vineyard management, the ones that can completely overcompensate for a dry season with more water being seen from the sky in August. It's kind of interesting to see that it seems that as we go in the season, as we know there is less and less moisture in the soil, we see more moisture from above the ground. Something is happening at the interface between the soil and the sky, and this is being picked up by those pictures. So I am unclear personally what we're going to be able to do with that, but I have the feeling that in one way or the other is going to impact ourselves, and in light of everything we've been seeing connecting winter rain with food composition, I think it's better to be ready for digesting this information and helping so that it helps the industry as a whole, as opposed to see it coming without trying to nail down what it means. Another thing that was very interesting, I thought, was the width between the blue peak and the red peak is really telling about the moisture. So when there is a very important width between two peaks, we know that there is going to be more or less water, as opposed to when those peaks get narrower. So you can imagine that if we have a high frequency of flight, by simply looking at the distance between the blue peak and the red peak, many people are going to have a direct information on what kind of irrigation practices you're doing, maybe. So I think it's better to know that now and adapt for the future of our practices. So at this point, I'd like to invite our speakers. So if you would like to come. It's really a matter of wrapping up the season because we've been having a lot of scientific talk based on site-specific data, but at the end we are all here for the fruit and for the wine. And I thought it was going to be interesting to have an echo from the ground. And since we guys we were working together in 2014, particularly the concept of these experiments, looking at water reductions, I wanted to have your feedback on what food composition can from different treatments, what take home we got from applying less water in the vineyard.
I'll try and keep it fairly short. I'm Lucas from Malta Ranch. I do the video management out there. And we did take part in the experiment this year. It's really interesting to see the technology that's available from fruition. We did the experiment on a 7-acre Cabernet block. Actually, it's 11 acres. And then we split it up. We have the ability to irrigate the hillside, separate from the floor of the vineyard, and then we did a fruition and a traditional treatment. Traditional irrigation was based on visual observations, shoot tips, tendrils, and then we would go with our traditional to keep the experiment as uniform as possible. And then the other half of the block, we used Thibaut's sap flow sensor and just went off his recommendation for irrigation. So throughout the season, we actually found that the vines regulated themselves, just like Thibaut said earlier, very well. They used less water, they actually had longer shoots. And what was really surprising is how long we could hold off our first irrigation. It's counterintuitive to think about not irrigating until aeration. You need some sort of irrigation in my mind, at least I thought, in order to get the canopy that you want. And we had a yield of, the difference was about 2% yield, 2% lower for the fruition treatment. But we saw total anthocyanin numbers, 10% across the board increase, with only about 2% to 3% in tannin increase. So we got a higher quality fruit that we can sell, put into a higher tier of wine. we saved 54% of our water. So it was extremely interesting to see what we could do by stressing the vines earlier and stressing them longer. We also started paying attention to a lot of different things with the fruition team. We're now doing weekly NDVIs. We can extrapolate a lot about what the irrigation needs are of the plants. We do shoot elongation numbers because at Halter we have a goal of 3 feet to 4.5 foot canopy height. And you need to hit that early in the season because your growth takes off. So we measure how long the shoots are, we average them out, and we can tell if the shoots are trending towards where we want to be. We also do pre-dawn pressure bombs. I struggled for years with what the correct timing was for pressure bombs. Some people say solar noon, some people say same time every day, doesn't matter, but we've found more consistency with pre-dawn pressure bombs. It actually correlates with the data that we picked up through fruition. And then we tracked berry weights and berry compositions, and then petioles throughout the year, so we could tell exactly where our nutritional status was. Those were just observations, we didn't do corrective actions. And in this whole experiment, we saw some anomalies in our blocks. We found that our water needs for our portion of the block, we were continuing to irrigate, but plants weren't recovering as fast as they needed, which indicates a nutritional problem. And then that was the first indication of a larger scale problem, which we came to with our berry rates and our composition of fruit. All of our fruit in this particular block, both fruition and our treatments, stalled at about 21 bricks. They first started their slowdown at August, second week in August or so. They stalled at 21 bricks the 21st of August, and they carried all the way through until the beginning of October before we saw an increase in sugar again. That increase was because of the vapor pressure deficit that we were talking about earlier. Thibaut mentioned that when the stress from heat and a lack of humidity is so high that it just draws the moisture out. So we saw a 6 increase in 2 weeks full harvest, but all of this indicated a larger problem. So we went through a virus testing the entire range. This particular block has red blotch. Now we're trying to learn how to deal with it. I'm not sure. We've got all kinds of indicators. So red blotch, I think, is here to stay. Unfortunately, a lot of people have it. So moving forward for us, we're actually going into a different trial and experimental phase. We're going to try because we found the nutritional problem popped up first. We're going to try using different types of foliar fertilizers and traditional fertilizers to mitigate the problems. But it's asked to discuss some of the future trials, but I don't know if we want to hand off and talk about the experiment or experiences.
Maybe we pass the word here. Just I would like to touch a note. You said it's counterintuitive to refrain from irrigating early, but there is a very cheap method to do that, and I think for the greater good, maybe that's something we should all do because it doesn't cost money, and as you pointed, it's simply monitoring the speed at which the shoot elongates. Maybe the first year you won't be able to take many decisions based on that measurement, but once you have 2 years or more of data, you can say right away whether the speed at which your canopy is developing is below the desirable level, and then trigger an irrigation. What it just takes is it's a tape measure, and be consistently measuring every 3 days or every week. It's cheap, it's common sense, and it helps you tell you whether or not you can have an irrigation during the grain growth. So I thought that was one thing that needs to be spread out. Would you like to say your take?
Certainly. Good afternoon. My name is Dave DeBus. I work for Lob and Floor Winery, and I realize I'm the only thing between you and lunch, so I will practice the art of brevity. Kind of a general observation I'd like to make for the for this season, or the last couple seasons, honestly. I can remember years ago, 2002, 2003, 2004, Dia, myself, and Stefan started harvesting some of the white grapes in early September. September 3rd, I remember was the earliest. I remember it was only gave me 2 days of dove hunting. And back then we would harvest well into November, September, October, November. That's arguably 3 months of a harvest period. Some of you remember back to this last year and the year before that, we were squeezing all that harvest into 3 or 4 weeks. I guess my point is that harvest date is, pardon me, is set fast and hard and it's non-negotiable. So if we only have 4 or 5 months of growing season, using tools that Tebow uses can accurately take that irrigation schedule and put when we definitely have to use it. And another take-home point is citing names 6, 7, 8, or 9 wells, not necessarily on the west side, some here on the east side, that we can harvest a block for 3 or 4 hours, and then we require a week in recovery time. Now that's arguably a finite amount of irrigation that those wells can produce. And if we have to wait until an exact time to use it, using tools that fruition gives us, I mean, we're a fool not to. We have to manage our irrigation better and better and better because that hardline harvest date is coming, and because we only have so much water. Do I make myself understood well enough there?
Lucas, would you like to multiply?
No,
Okay.
no, that's good.
No,
it's very true. It's a finite amount of water. Not necessarily all of the tools that we had, but like Thibaut said, if you just take care of your shoot elongation numbers and you have a goal, or he also says it takes 2 or 3 years to get a database, and that's very true. This is our first year trying this, and 2015 will be next year, and it just seems like this year is earlier and warmer, and luckily we have had rain, but I think last year's late rainfall really helped get the vines set for the season, and who knows if we're going to have this. I just saw John Lindsay's newest forecast says a late El Nino gives the chance of potential normal rainfall year, and let's hope, but at the same time we'll have to be really water-wise. There's kind of it's not a recipe, but we all have our own feelings of canopy management. But my opinion is that irrigation is the key to the success of high quality grapes. Stress at the right times and not stress at the right times as well. And that's the one place that we can all really improve most likely. And there are several tools out there. Chosen to use fruition, and they help us.
Yeah, I'd like to open up the scope beyond just water. I think in the future we're going to see an explosion of new technologies, and getting data is not going to be a problem. The problem is going to be what method do you use to sample your field. And I think we all need to think together about our sampling strategy. Does it make sense to keep doing random sampling when what we see is that the heterogeneity of the field can just bring as much variability in the data than how the season unfolds? So maybe it's better to at least know where you're sampling from by reducing your area of sampling so that you create a database that 3, 5 years down the road will be still useful. Whereas if today you keep doing random sampling, 5 years down the road you won't know if the data you had was due to spatial heterogeneity because you irrigated more that time, or due to actually the climatic footprint on the plant performances. So I think the really important message is, regardless of the technology you use, whether you work with us or not, there is an incentive for thinking smartly about what to sample, when to sample, and how to sample. Often we sample redundant information. That's what I was trying to say when we sample at the end of the season for fruit composition analysis. Maybe you get more information for your dollars if you sample less often, but at key stages of the plant development. So that's also what I wanted to bring forward. And if you want to tell us to go to lunch right away or have a...
As you want, Thibaut.
No, please go ahead.
I mean, the sampling and video, like Thibaut says, is really, really important. I mean, how can we invest all this time and energy and not sample at the key periods and know exactly what our work did if we don't sample correctly, and with their help, I mean, Darren and I did the best we could, but Thibault and his team clearly are the ones that go for on that. And something interesting about the fruition sciences and about irrigation or soil moisture and the plant's response to the environment is so intricate. Sometimes Thibault can speak well over my head. It doesn't take much. But sometimes we would do a small leaf thinning, and we'd get a call or an email from Thibault, hey, what's going on in your world there? I see some changes in the soil moisture or the plant's reaction just from a little bit of leaf foliage. So, you know, these days of stripping off all the leaves on this side of the plant, because that's what my dad did and his dad did, maybe we need to really slow down our focus and do exactly what the plant is telling us to do. I mean, I don't want to exaggerate and say I've seen people do some leaf blowing and then put shade cloth up the next week, you know what I mean? So the fruition sciences team, they really kind of steer the whole plant and the way it's working in the environment to how much moisture we need to be putting and when we need to be putting it.
Okay, so I think we are going to end up the conference at this point. I would like to thank all of you for having come. Of course, we will welcome your feedback because we don't know if the informative content was useful for you. It's the first time, so we would really appreciate if you please send us our feedback. I think Virginie is going to send you the link for the survey. And if it's informative, maybe we'll do it again and let's hear more from you. Virginie, would you like to add a word?
Yeah, exactly. So thank you again to you. And as Thibault said, please answer this survey because I know you hate that. But I'll make sure it doesn't last more than 1 minute. But really, any help is appreciated, and especially as we intend to do that on a yearly basis. So hopefully you enjoyed the day. I would love to thank our sponsors again because it's really important. They're actually are the ones who made it possible for the lunch, etc. So I would like to thank ETS Labs. I know they're opening a lab in Paso, Robles, and they've been supporting the vintage report in California since the very beginning. In active inquiry, we worked with them a lot regarding this experimentation, and they've supported the event. And LAFOR, also because they are a very loyal sponsor across the vintage reports in Napa and now in Paso Robles. So thank you to you. Enjoy the lunch. So it would be through the back door, and I hope to see you soon.